I finished my first playthrough of Boltgun on hard difficulty, and I'm about to do my second playthrough on exterminatus difficulty. There are few things in life more glorious than slaying hordes of degenerate demons and heretic scum. After my most recent purge, I asked myself if there were other Doom guys in 40k besides Malem Kato. After a bit of research, I found a couple others, one of whom was so disgusting I almost vomited just reading about him. I'd like to introduce you to the Doom guys of the 40k universe, Apex Warriors, that are so OP they would solo Abaddon himself. First on the list is one of the most BS characters to have ever existed in 40k, Khaldor Drago. This guy is so ridiculous that the first time I heard about him, I thought there's no way I'm including him as canon, but after accepting Malem Kato into my lore, I would be a hypocrite if I did it. Khaldor Drago is the supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights. Grey Knights are space marines created from a gene seed originating from the Emperor himself, and all of them, with one known exception that I can remember, are psychos. The Grey Knights are one of the Imperium's only incorruptible factions, alongside the Custodes and Sisters of Silence. This was proven when Khorne's murder curse swept over entire battle groups, and it's said that only those three factions proved to be truly immune. His predecessor, the former Supreme Grand Master of the Grey Knights, Jeronitan, fell in combat against the Demon Primarch Mortarion. Khaldor was chosen by Psychic Communion to be the next Supreme Grand Master. He armed himself with the Titan Sword, an ancient relic Nemesis Forsword forged by the Emperor back in the Unification Wars that must be psychically attuned to the mind of its wielder. The first act he did as Supreme Grand Master was defeat Mortarion by using Mortarion's true name against him, and literally carved Jeronitan's name onto Mortarion's rotting heart as he banished the Demon Primarch back into the warp. However, despite all that, I had a hard time at first believing Khaldor Drago was a thing, because this dude has been cursed to be stuck in the warp itself, which is pretty much hell in 40k. The powers of chaos at first tried to either kill him or corrupt him, but the demons soon found out that it was they who was stuck with him, because Khaldor Drago went full Doomslayer on them and started an absolute rampage against all the Chaos Gods. The 5th edition Grey Knights Codex says that atop the Blood Force, where the acrid equal of Khorne's fallen champions tumbles endlessly into the void, Drago slew the great bloodthirster Karvoth. With cleansing fire, he drove demonic taint from the beast's great axe and used the molten remains to reforge his sword, sundered in battle with Emkar the Reborn so long ago. He unleashed sanctified flame again amongst the writhing jungles of Nurgle's domain, and for a long time, the gusting warp winds carried only a charcoal stench and the tortured screaming of demonic vegetation. On a journey through the Whispering Meadows, 6 sisters, the chosen handmaidens of Slaanesh, sought to tempt Drago with promises of glory, power, and all the myriad riches desired by mortal flesh and spirit, but their words could find no purchase upon his soul, and he scattered the demonette's dismembered remains among the alabaster grasses. At the gates of the inevitable city, the Lord of Change, Mkarchen, offered Drago a path homewards, but in reply, the Grey Knights smote the city walls and left the bird demon entombed amongst the ruins. The Grey Knights 5th edition codex says that after thousands more of such acts, that normal demons chose to leave Khaldor Drago alone, and that only the most bloodthirsty Khornate demons dared pull up on our guy. If you know anything about demons, then this is kinda crazy if you think about it. When Khaldor Drago kills a demon, they don't die a permanent death. They will respawn and they will seek revenge. So after who knows how many respawns, most demons have simply given up on trying to kill Khaldor. Khaldor is basically a Elden Ring or Dark Souls boss, and a lot of these demons are like game journalists who struggle against him and just give up. In this regard, Khaldor Drago is more of a Doom guy parody than the other 2 warriors that I'll be covering in this video, because he is wandering around 40k's hell and smoking anybody that pulls up on him. The next character I'd like to talk about is the most disgusting of the 3. He is not a human, he is a creature. He is Xenos filth. I will be the first to admit that I am naturally biased against him because I am proudly racist to his kind, but even if I wasn't, this character is still absolutely ridiculous. Shazla Tal Kais is the protagonist in the 2003 FPS game Warhammer 40,000 Fire Warrior, which has also been novelized in the book Fire Warrior. I haven't played the game and I never will because it's a bit too old for me, but I'll link Josh Strife's great review of it in the description. Tal Fire Warriors are basically the warrior caste of the Tal species. They have been trained since birth to be warriors, though nothing could possibly excuse what Shazla Kais did in the game. So the premise of the story is that an ethereal Tal, the ethereals being the ruling caste of Tal society, has been kidnapped by Imperials, and Shazla is part of the Fire Warriors army sent to rescue the ethereal. This is his very first combat action, by the way, his very first. That's one of the defining differences between him and the other 2 Doom guys in this video. He is a rookie, whereas they are veterans. Shazla Kais proceeds to rampage his way through an entire regiment of Imperial Guardsmen. He solos Valkyries, he solos Imperial and Chaos Space Marines, he even solos Dreadnoughts. Throughout the game, he can pick up and use different guns proficiently, including Imperial and Chaos weapons. A Chaos Sorcerer with all his foul warp magic has nothing on this man. Chaos Spawn has nothing on this man. A Greater Demon of Tzeentch has nothing on this godlike champion of the greater good. If you are wondering how is it possible that a Xenos who stands 5'7" at best could do all this damage, then that's because you doubt the power of the greater good. He did all this for the greater good, and by the greater good has everything been made more greatly good. Now, if you thought Captain Titus or Cato Sicarius were the strongest Ultramarine Smurfs, then just wait until you learn about Malum Cato. Malum Cato is a Latin name that translates to I kill evil or killer of evil. Warhammer Boltgun takes place on the same planet that the original Space Marine game was based on, the Forged World of Greya. Malum is a Space Marine of the Ultramarines' first company, which is made up of all the chapter's elite veterans. He's a Stern Guard veteran, which means he's a ranged weapon specialist, so he's pretty much more of a shooter than a slasher. He had originally been part of a Stern Guard squad, but the drop pod crash landed on the planet, and Malum was the only survivor, unfortunately. Instead of giving up, 40k's version of the Doomslayer pushes forward without reinforcements to face literally an entire army of Chaos Cultists, Black Legion Space Marines and Demons, as well as the occasional alien, which were just huge ambles. Unlike Kaldor Drago, Malum does not have any psycho powers, nor does he have the Emperor's Gene Seed. Despite that, he not only bulldozes his way through the entire Chaos army, he also takes down multiple Greater Demons of Tzeentch and Nurgle. He has banished a Lord of Change and a Great Unclean One in the same fight. This already puts him above Shazla Kais in terms of achievements, because the Tau Fire Warrior only took down one Greater Demon. The more impressive thing about Malum Cato is that he remains utterly incorruptible throughout his one-man army war against Chaos. He did not use any Chaos corrupted weapon at all throughout the game, by the way. He strictly stuck to using Imperial guns and his chainsword. You have to remember that Grey Knights were the Emperor's final creation, and they are specialist demon hunters that are made and trained to be incorruptible. Ultramarines, while they maintain extremely high standards as a first founding chapter, are not made to be incorruptible demon hunters. I think it speaks volumes about Malum Cato that the Inquisitor he is working with, Inquisitor Sable, did not even doubt his purity at the end of the game after the final boss fight. She just tells him, hey bro, you still got more heretics and demons to purge. Unlike Captain Titus, who had to get tested for corruption, this Inquisitor just thought, nah, ain't no way this man is not blessed by the Emperor's light. The ending was a very 40k ending. There was no thank you for hard carrying the Imperium of Man, not that Malum would have wanted a thank you. Remember, duty ends only in death.
There are still heretics to purge. Ready your weapon.